What kind of feeling is this? The pores all over her body began to dilate. Jingshu felt her heartbeat speed up, her body temperature rise, and she began to get excited. Unlike last time, she was still very excited this time, very bloodthirsty, and wanted to personally break their necks. You can't run away, they're already here. Grandma, you and my mom, third aunt, and cousin stay in the living room and sit well. Have you forgotten the trap that my dad and I set last time? Don't worry, they can't get in. Jing's mother grabbed Jingshu's arm tightly. No, you can't go out. It's too dangerous outside. I don't want to be like Wang Xuemei. As she spoke, tears flowed silently. Wang Xuemei's incident had already caused a serious shadow on Jing's mother. Jing's father stood up. Don't be afraid. Whoever wants to hurt you must step over my dead body first. Seeing Jing's mother so scared, Jingshu clenched her fists and had already set several death packages for those people in her mind. Mom, I'll get something later. Then she went upstairs and came down again. She actually took out a crossbow and arrows as well as a gun from the space. With the whole family stunned, each person was given a crossbow and arrows. Jingshu picked up the gun and put it in the holster on her waist. Let's go. I'll explain it to you later when I have time. I didn't expect that I would really use these things one day. The crossbow is easy to operate. Let my dad teach you. Jingshu said quickly while taking the whole family to the yard of the villa. Since the family members were so resistant and afraid, Jingshu thought that instead of letting them hide inside and be scared, it would be better to hold weapons and watch at the door to give them courage. Who didn't spend their first time like this? The end of the world is here, and they must learn to accept it and become strong in their hearts. Jingshu's first time was also just crying in her mother's arms. But was that useful? Before she died in her previous life, Jingshu found that everything had to be done by herself to be strong. Cluck, cluck, cluck. The fat chicken screamed with an unusually fierce voice today. Its blood seemed to be boiling. It would rush forward and fight to the death as soon as Jingshu gave it an order. Jingshu installed a one-piece stainless steel helmet specially made for the fat chicken. It had a 15-centimeter-long stainless steel spike and a blood flow groove. It was guaranteed that blood would spurt out the moment it was stabbed in. Wu Yui looked at the fat chicken with shining eyes, not knowing what he was thinking. Mom, you just stand here and don't move forward. There are dangerous traps ahead. If someone breaks in when I tell you to shoot, you shoot arrows in the direction of the door. Grandpa, and I will set traps in the chicken coop. Jing's mother's hands were shaking all the time and she finally took out the phone. I'll call Minister Neo first. He must have connections to send the police. The group of people outside were getting closer and closer. They could already hear their arrogant laughter and conversation. Jingshu lowered her head to look at the infrared monitoring of her mobile phone, while she and Jingye stood separately. The traps were set by Grandpa Jing and his father. They both knew their functions and where to release them. The grandfather and grandson quickly exchanged their locations. I heard from Go Etienne that this villa is very rich and has a warehouse of food. I don't know if it's true or not. They are the only ones in the community with energy trucks. They can't be that bad. Brother Deri has taken a fancy to this family's energy truck. Let's climb over the wall to save trouble. Okay, brothers, get your weapons. Follow Brother Bai to climb over the wall and pry the door open. It's finally coming. Jingshu's eyes are particularly bright in the dark. Hearing the noise outside, Jingshu's family was scared. Jingshu counted the people in the surveillance. There are more than 40 people in total. Almost everyone is holding a weapon, but fortunately there are no destructive weapons such as axes. Plop. Plop. Ouch. It hurts so much. My legs. So many things are piercing my flesh. Help. Then there were several miserable screams. They just climbed over the 1-meter small fence and stepped on the wooden board. In the blink of an eye, they stepped on the air and fell into the 2-meter deep pit. Of course, if it was just a pit, there would be no such miserable screams. You have to know that this trap was dug by Jingshu and Jing's father for a whole month. They dug a circle of 2-meter deep pits along the villa and spent hundreds of wooden boards to make the trap. Of course, Jingshu buried a lot of 5-centimeter-long nails in the soil of each pit without telling her family. If the head and heart were facing the ground, there would be basically no help. What a pity. Only 8 people climbed in. Jingshu counted the heads and watched the situation outside with the mobile phone monitoring. I can't get up, damn it. What the hell is this place? Is it a trap? De Zhuang, where did you fall? Where are you? Speak. The people outside were in chaos. The people inside couldn't get out. The people outside couldn't do anything. The wooden boards were close to each other, and they didn't know who fell into which pit. It was not easy to determine which pit the person was in. The person inside was injured and couldn't stand up. The people above couldn't reach him even if they wanted to. There was no rope at this time. This was very embarrassing. The group of people made a fuss for several minutes and walked around the fence for a long time before saying, "This villa is really horrible. There are so many pits like this. We definitely can't cross it. Even if we climb up the wall, there's a layer of glass cover on it. I can't smash it with stones. It should be tempered glass." What does this mean? It means that the other party is rich. Brothers, cheer up. There is a big deal. Let's go in through the main gate. We will rescue the people in the pit later. A group of people found the main gate in a mighty manner. Brother Dobby, there are no more traps at the door. Brother Dobby, they're going to pry open the door. I brought professional tools. Wait for me for a few minutes. Be careful after you go in. You never know what will happen. Brother Dobby said as he quietly stepped back. He always felt that this villa was not simple. There was a sound of clacking. Just when Jingshu's family was relieved and thought that this group of people could not get in, they did not expect to hear bad news again. Everyone's heart was pulled to their throat. Everyone unconsciously clenched the crossbow they had just learned. With a crisp click, the door was pried open. With a bang, the door was kicked open. Charge! Leave the women behind and kill all the men. Brother Dobby held a knife and hit at the back, but he shouted loudly, and a group of people rushed in. The next second, when Brother Dobby rushed forward, he suddenly felt a pain in his ankle. Something tightly bound him. He did not lift his feet to run forward, and he fell directly on the person in front of him. At the same time, the dozen or so people who were left at the end did not succeed in running, but because of inertia, they all fell forward and fell flat on their faces. Fuck him, who is going to cut me? Ah, my back hurts. It's going to crush someone to death. The few people who fell in the front were not so lucky. The sudden inertia caused the hands of the people behind to slip and throw the knives away. The unlucky ones were directly chopped on the head and back, and they wailed immediately. Dobby, who was hiding at the back, also fell on the person in front. He felt that his feet were so painful that he could not walk anymore. He was imprisoned. Damn, what is this? Dobby tried to pull his feet hard, but it was useless. He touched it and felt a cold touch. An iron steel ring was firmly fixed on his feet. Dobby had the idea of turning around and running quickly. He had lost more than 20 brothers, all of whom were armed, but he still hadn't seen anyone in the villa. The damn Go Etienne said that there was only the little girl's family, but did he tell him that there were so many traps in this house? I was afraid that I would hit a brick wall. Where's my knife? In the dark, no one knew where it had gone. The flashlight was thrown far away. Holding the back of Lao Zhu in front of him, Gu felt sticky in his hands, and streams of heat flowed out. Yes, it's blood. Lao Zhu, what happened to you? There was another round of chaos. The group of people running in the front heard the screams from behind, thinking that someone was coming from behind, and turned their heads to see what happened. This time, they only heard a whoosh beside their ears, and then 3 huge nets fell down, knocking down another group of people. At the same time, the nets were tied with nails, thumbtacks, sharp knives, etc., and glass shards, lime powder, chili powder, and other strange things fell from the sky, which immediately made the people under the nets temporarily lose their fighting power. Jingshu ran out of the chicken coop and shouted, "Shoot at the door." So the family members, with their heads blank, started to shoot continuously, but they couldn't hit the target accurately. Fortunately, people were crowded together, so someone was always shot. The person in the front was unlucky and was shot like a hedgehog. The villa yard was instantly filled with wailing. The remaining crossbows in the magic cube space fired several rounds at the people in the net until they were sure that the dozen people had completely lost their fighting power and couldn't get up. Jingshu saw the remaining shadows clearly in the dark. Some were panicking, some stepped on air and fell into the fish pond, and a few fish that escaped the net were stepping on the vegetable field with machetes, running home in a crouching posture. Some had already given up and wanted to run outside, but the door was crowded with people who were imprisoned. Jingshu gently raised the crossbow. After practicing for half a year, she was finally able to shoot at the moving target. 1, 2, 3. The screams in the villa became louder. Cluck, cluck, cluck. Fat Chicken's green eyes shone in the darkness. After Jingshu gave a gesture, he suddenly pounced on the robber, poked it hard with a stainless steel cone, pulled it out, and poked it again. After a series of poking, it became a sieve, and Jingshu's teeth ached just by looking at it. After easily dealing with one person, Fat Chicken started to wander around to find the next one. In the unfamiliar villa, these people were like a pile of loose sand, and no one was able to fight. The whole battle lasted less than a minute, and there was no robber standing up in the villa. It's over? Jing's mother choked with excitement. Did they escape? Jingshu, where are you? Jing's mother walked down the stairs with trembling legs. I'm here. Don't come out yet. Jingshu came out of the chicken coop and turned on the 2 rows of lights in the villa. The dark villa suddenly lit up, revealing a bloody scene. The blood and miserable scene in the yard made third Aunt Jinglai vomit the meal she had just eaten on the spot, and Jing's mother took a big step back in fear. The dozen people imprisoned at the door opened their eyes wide and looked at the red apples, white apricots, and a pool of water. 3 large nets at the door of the villa covered more than a dozen people. They were lying on the ground at this moment, half dead, with arrows stuck in their bodies and blood flowing all over the ground. Some of the unlucky ones were pierced by the nails and glass shards that fell down and fainted directly. Some people in the net had their eyeballs pierced by nails and squeezed out. On one side of the vegetable field, there were several people who were poked like sieves, and their blood irrigated the entire vegetable field. 2 people fell into the pond on the other side and never came up again. There were also a few fish that escaped the net lying on the middle road groaning. They were all people who were shot by Jingshu with a few arrows, but they were not dead yet. Cousin helped them in. There's no danger outside now. Because it's better not to let them see the next scene. Jingshu, who has lived in the apocalypse for 10 years and is used to all kinds of tragic deaths, is afraid of leaving a shadow in their hearts. Wu Yui nodded a little excitedly and helped Jing's grandmother, the 3rd aunt, and Jing's mother to rest. Jing's father came out to repair the trap. There are still a group of people. We must be prepared. At the critical moment, Jing's father was still very reliable. In front of his family, he was willing to risk everything to make himself stronger. I'll fix the trap too. What about the dozen people outside? Jing Yi also recovered. No hurry, I'll clean up our yard first. Jingshu showed her grim, white teeth. What Jingshu called cleaning up was very simple. She dragged the dead bodies to the door one by one. Regardless of whether they were dead or not, they all had their necks broken. Now Jingshu was very familiar with it. If she used a knife, she would have to dirty the villa again, which was too troublesome. Of course, the dead don't feel anything. The few who didn't die not only had to endure the huge injuries on their bodies, but also had to feel the fear before death. Waiting to die is the most terrifying. The person who fell into Jingshu's hands, his teeth chattering as he looked at Jingshu and couldn't speak clearly. Please, please don't kill me. Crack. With her neck broken, Jingshu was thrown next to a group of people at the door with a bang. The dozen or so people who were not dead at the door looked at all this with pale faces. Jing's father and Jing's grandfather ignored all this. When they caught Go Etian today, Jing's father persuaded Jingshu that killing was illegal. What was the result? If they had agreed to kill Go Etian at that time, this would not have happened. These people deserve to die. If they didn't die, I would be the one to die. Jing's father couldn't imagine what the scene would be like if it were the other way around. The people in the middle began to crawl towards the door. They were shitting and pissing, leaving a row of blood marks on the ground. "Brother Dobby, help me. Call Brother Dory quickly, help me." Brother Dobby's hands were shaking as he searched all over his body for his phone. Suddenly, there was another dong sound and another body was thrown over. A hot stream flowed out of his pants, and Brother Dobby finally cried. Jingshu clapped her hands and walked out. There are a total of 23 bodies inside, all gathered. Those outside choose a way to die. The cold wind blew, and Dobby, who was paralyzed by fear, burst into tears. The extreme fear made him beg for mercy. He regretted it so much. Why did he choose this villa that looked so hard to deal with when there were so many slums to rob? Also, this woman is really a devil who kills without blinking an eye. Goi Tian was right, their whole family is perverted. Who would make a trap with nails buried? Who would make so many large nets on purpose? Who would hide so many crossbows? This woman even had a gun on her waist. Is the rice at home not delicious? Why did he come to rob? Oh, by the way, I forgot that there are 2 people inside and 8 people outside. Jingshu turned around and poked 2 people out of the pond with a net. The bright lights of the villa illuminated Jingshu's devilish figure, and the originally green vegetables were now stained red with blood. David hit the gold hoop on his foot with his hands, wishing he could cut it off with a knife and run away. Just as the saying goes, after wearing the gold hoop, you are no longer immortal and you cannot touch the lust of the world. When the bloody person was fished out of the pond, David stopped crying and burped. Jingshu used a stick to hit the various fish on the corpse, shook it, and immediately the large and small fish on the corpse were shaken into the water, and then more ferocious fish suddenly jumped out of the calm fish pond, opened their mouths, and bit the corpse again. The woman frowned, picked up the 2 corpses with a stick, and threw them to David's side with a thud, splashing water on his face. "Come here, fat chicken, eat," the woman said as she poked the pits one by one with a shovel. David could hear the sound of puffing inside. The people inside must be dead. A giant chicken came running over, and the woman took off its helmet with a spike. It started to eat the fish on the corpse. Soon, the fish and the meat on the corpse were gone. He opened his mouth wide and looked at the white bones of Wang Qian's half-body that had been gnawed off. Li Rui was left with only the upper half of his body, and his lower half was gone. At this moment, his body was gnawed into a sieve by the chicken. Brother Dobby finally understood how the sieve-like wounds on the corpses were caused. Seeing that the 2 people still had twisted and struggling expressions before death, Brother Dobby finally vomited with a sound of vomiting, and even vomited acid water. "No, she is not a devil, they are demons. I want to go home. Please let me go, I beg you, I will do anything for you." The remaining 7 or 8 people who were still alive vomited when they saw this cruel scene, crying while vomiting. "This is hell, it's too scary." Those who still have the strength to climb out, trying every way to pull their feet out. They thought they had met a fat sheep today. They thought the end of the world had come. They robbed and killed countless people with knives. They thought even the police couldn't control them. They were invincible. But today, they met a demon, a man who killed people without blinking an eye. The fish he raised could eat people. The chickens he raised also ate people. The owner was even more of a murderer. The apple was probably poisonous. Seeing that they were talking nonsense, either begging for mercy or cursing, without any innovation that could make people's eyes light up, Jingshu was too lazy to say anything more and started to solve them one by one. She broke the necks of all the dead and alive. Dobby saw that everyone was dead, and it was his turn soon. He was so scared that he stuttered. I will take you to kill Dari. They are in building 2. There are 15 people. There are more than 40 scattered in other buildings. Jingshu touched her chin and thought for a while. Why bother so much? You can call and trick everyone in building 2 to come. Dobby swallowed his saliva and rolled his eyes. What about the people in other buildings? Why should I care about them? Jingshu snorted coldly. If someone had stood up and united to fight against these people before, she might have been ready to catch them all in one fell swoop. In this case, let's each take care of our own business. Oh, you can consider saving Wang Chichi. Ask about the situation later. Dobby, who found the phone in a pile of corpses, dialed the number with trembling hands. He trembled even more when he saw the woman sharpening her knife. The woman frowned. So fierce. Act more realistically. The woman was very impatient. Dobby's voice began to tremble. Hello, Dobby? How's it going? There were all kinds of laughter and shouting, and the woman's half-dead groaning from the other end of the phone. Success. Of course, it's a great success. Dobby's voice couldn't help but tremble. Then what's wrong with your voice? Dobby burst into tears. Just when the woman frowned and decided not to leave any survivors, Dobby fought for his own survival for a while. Dari, there's not only an energy vehicle here, but also a pool of water. There are so many fish in the pool, and there are apple trees with so many apples on them, and there is also an old hen. Woo woo woo, I'm so excited. Fish will eat corpses, apples are poisonous, and hens will kill people. Woo woo woo, it's so scary. Okay, you guys keep the man under control. If you can't get that woman for a day, we'll make the villa our headquarters, and then go to each family, not letting anyone go. David cursed in his heart thousands of times that it was this idiot who caused him to encounter the devil tonight, but he still said, okay, come and distribute the supplies quickly, and let the others continue to guard. With a beep, he hung up the phone. Jingshu took the phone away, searched his body again to make sure there was no communication, then turned on the trap switch, dragged him out like a chicken, and continued to tie him up with a rope and tied him to the chicken coop. Then Jingshu threw the bodies into the pit one by one, and the imprisonment trap in front of the door was repaired. Jingye rearranged the trap inside. Jingba collected all the arrows, and then turned off the lights. The villa fell into darkness again. Jingshu stood next to David and put the knife on his neck. You'll know what to say later. David nodded stiffly. After a while, footsteps were heard, and there was a faint light from a mobile phone. Is this the place? Brother Dari, that woman is right here. Go Etienne said excitedly. Jingshu pushed Brother Da by. Dari, is that you? Come on. The brothers are waiting for you. Brother Da by roared. Why is there such a strong smell of blood? Dari frowned, and then thought. Dubai brought more than 40 people and a few might have died, but it seemed a little too quiet, didn't it? It was not like their style. When Dari felt that something was wrong, Go Etienne had already kicked the door open. Brother Dubai, keep that woman for me, right? If I don't torture her more miserably than Wang Xiume today, I won't be named Go. Go Etienne suddenly realized that he was a bit too ostentatious and hurriedly ran back to use his mobile phone to shoot. Brother Dari, be careful of the sticky ground. Brother Dari nodded. Maybe he was overthinking. He followed behind and quietly took out his gun. No matter what, safety is the most important. Just like this, the exact same scene reappeared. Brother Dubai, where are you? Fuck. What are the puddles on the ground? It's so slippery, and you don't even have a flashlight. The 3 giant nets fell down as soon as the people in front walked through the door, and the other half of the people were trapped while walking. At the same time, Jing's father, Jingshu, and the crossbows in the space began to shoot out, and these defenseless people immediately screamed and cursed. The big net covered a total of 8 people, and the steel ring at the door locked the remaining 7 people. This time was much easier than the last time. After all, these people were not prepared, and there were fewer people. Damn, Dobby, have you betrayed us? Where's that woman? Have you been bribed? Go Etienne shouted unwillingly. Dobby, let's talk it over. If you want my brother's position, I'll give it to you. Just let us go first. Darigo raised his gun and started aiming while trying to get out of the steel ring. The dim light of the mobile phone could only illuminate the person in front of him, who was shot like a hedgehog and lay on the ground unable to move. The imprisoned people were so scared by the scene that they fell to the ground. They immediately felt their hands were sticky. They stretched out their hands and looked. It's blood. The ground is full of blood. Jingshu clearly saw the gun in Dariji's hand in the dark night, and her eyes became brighter. Untying Dobby, he kicked him out. Your mission is complete, you can go. Jing's father said anxiously. You can't let him go. Jingshu put her index finger on her lips. Show look. Dobby appeared in the dim light of the mobile phone with an embarrassed look on his face. He showed a miserable smile on his face and staggered towards the door. Dead. All dead. They are all dead. What happened? Tell me clearly. All killed. They are all demons, so scary. That woman asked me to trick you here. Blame that woman. Dobby walked faster and faster. I want to go home. I don't want to play anymore. Let that person build a new social order. Dobby passed the imprisoned people and ran towards the darkness. He escaped. Bang! A gunshot rang out, and Doree turned around and shot the person who had already escaped in the back of the head, and then Dobby fell down after pausing for a few seconds. So, you just followed my instructions and tricked us here? Doree snorted coldly, and suddenly heard a loud bang, followed by a piercing pain. He fell backwards, and the gun in his hand was thrown out. Jingshu ran out from the darkness and rolled over to pick up the gun on the ground. Then they saw the woman go Etienne mentioned. Great, there's another gun. Jingshu put away the gun and saw a few people who were still thieves calling for help. Without saying a word, she broke their necks. Doree lay on the ground and watched Jingshu kill people one by one, and then threw out the bodies in the villa one by one. Only then did he understand why Bai said she was a demon. How could she kill all of them with such a simple method?
Go.
Etienne shook his head in horror. Impossible. This is impossible. Damn it. Go. Etienne knew he was going to die. It turned out that the woman who came to his house today showed mercy to him. Is this her true face? Help. Go. Etienne howled. Jingshu came over with wet papers, tied up the throbbing Go Etienne, then shook the papers in her hand and said, Do you know what this is? Go Etienne shook his head in fear. Have you heard of posting officials? Jingshu narrowed her eyes. This man brought dozens of robbers. She should have dealt with him long ago. Otherwise, so many things would not have happened. Go Etienne shook his head in panic. Who will save him? Anyone can. It's just wet papers posted on your face, and finally suffocated to death. I heard that it is much more painful than breaking your neck directly. I was planning to send you away tonight, and it's not too late now. Go Etienne finally couldn't bear it anymore and cried. Brother Doree swallowed hard. He was shot in the abdomen and right chest. It hurt so much that he couldn't move at all. He knew that he was going to die here today. I just hope you can give me a quick death. He closed his eyes. If he could, he would choose to have his neck broken, but unfortunately his wish would not come true. At this time, the siren sounded, and soon 3 or 4 patrol police cars came to the villa, and more than 30 armed police officers got off. Jingshu quietly put the 2 pistols into the magic cube space and greeted Minister Nyomu, who got off the car in a hurry. Jing's mother, who heard the noise in the villa, also came out. Director Su, Jingshu, are you and your family all right? I rushed here after hearing the news. I hope it's not too late. What are the casualties? It's okay. We escaped a lot. Jing's mother shook hands with Minister Nyo in gratitude. Nyomu had originally made the worst plan. When he heard that at least dozens of knife-wielding robbers surrounded the villa, he knew that it was going to be bad. This time he might only be able to collect the bodies. But he resolutely put down his face and asked his good friend to bring people.
But he didn't expect.
Huh? Why does it seem that Jingshu has controlled the people? This is not right. And whose bodies are these? More than 30 armed police surrounded the door of Jingshu's villa, looking strangely at the bodies that fell together and the only 2 living people lying on the ground. Go Etienne let out a long breath and cried with joy. Help. I'm finally saved. This woman is a demon. She has killed dozens of people and she wants to kill me. You quickly catch her. Who is this? The young armed police next to Minister Nyo was a little confused. Didn't you say you were here to save people? Where are the people you want to save? Where are the people who robbed with knives? Let me introduce you. This is Major Yang Yang of the Armed Police Detachment. This time, it was because of him that we were able to bring so many people. Minister Nyo introduced everyone. Faced with Major Yang's question, Jing Shujia didn't know how to answer for a while. Jing Shu coughed and said, These piled-up bodies are the people who robbed with knives. This is Go Etienne. He is the one who brought dozens of people from Bairi to rule our community. This is their brother Dari, one of their leaders. It turned out to be Bai Ri. What a coincidence. Yang Yang's eyes lit up. The person is not dead yet? No. Then we will accept this person. Hey, you should know about that person, right? Yang pulled Brother Dari up. Who are you talking about? I don't know. Brother Dari gritted his teeth. I don't know if you know that a cow can be injected with dozens of kilograms of water without dying, but if a person is injected with 3 kilograms of water, he will be in excruciating pain. Do you understand the feeling of being in agony? Yang deliberately prolonged the tone, and when he saw Dari go, who was pale and sweating, his lips curled up and he smiled with satisfaction. He took out a syringe from his body, slowly drew water from the mineral water bottle in his hand, and then stabbed it into Dariji's body. You still don't know? Huh. Dariji's cold sweat flowed down, and when the 3rd syringe was injected, he began to howl, and soon his nose, tears and drool flowed together, and he confessed directly. Jing Shu shuddered. She knew this famous story. Before the end of the world, there were unscrupulous merchants who injected water into cattle in order to increase the weight of cattle and sell them at a good price, making the cattle swell and become heavier, and they would not pay attention to the tortured cattle screaming and crying. Some police secretly used this trick to force confessions from suspects. It is the simplest, most painful, and does not leave any evidence. Yang Yang's leather boots tapped the rhythm on Dariji's neck. He pondered for a while. It's similar to what we know. Where's the gun that person gave you? Seeing that she couldn't keep it, Jing Shu sighed secretly. It's with me. Yang looked up and looked at this woman seriously for the first time. Apart from being a little pretty, there was nothing extraordinary about her. It was just that she set traps at home and killed dozens of people. What about the remaining people in Bai Ri? Yang asked again. There were only a dozen bodies at the scene. Could they all be in the villa? Jing Shu led the people to a circle of pits at the door. Even the armed police who were used to seeing life and death took a breath. When they looked at Jing Shu again, their expressions changed. There are more than 40 people guarding downstairs in other buildings. They may have run away when they heard the police car. Go Etian saw that Jing Shu's murder was confirmed and shouted frantically. Police comrades, you saw it. She killed so many people. Catch her quickly. Please, even if you want to catch him, you have to catch this crazy woman. He really doesn't want to stay with this woman anymore. Save him. Yang sneered. We are not the police, but the armed police. This area is not within our jurisdiction now. If you want to arrest someone, please call the police. Go Etienne finally showed a desperate look. Then take me away too, even if it's okay to take me to jail. This crazy woman will torture me to death. She will kill me. Yang ignored him again, but turned his head and said to Jing Shu, we want to take this leader away. The gun is your trophy. We don't ask. As for the other people in Bai Ri, we are not interested. If you don't have anything else to do, we will withdraw first. Wait, you have come all the way here. I have some fresh vegetables at home. I will bring them. You can share them. Thank you so much for coming this time. Jing's mother said and ran back home, and Jing's father and grandfather carried a box of garlic sprouts, a box of bean sprouts, and a jar of pickled vegetables. Yang was a little surprised and looked at Nyomu hesitantly. Minister Nyo pulled Yang and laughed. Director Su is in charge of planting.
Take it.
I'll repay you my favor. Okay. The brothers will also be punished if they leave their posts today.
I didn't help you this time.
Just call me next time if you need anything. It can be regarded as a friendship and an extra trump card. They came and went in a hurry. Jing's mother was very grateful and said that she would visit Minister Nyo's house in a few days. After the two of them smiled knowingly, the patrol car withdrew in a low-key manner. They really came out for Minister Nyo's sake. It seems that I have to thank my immediate superior, Minister Nyo, and hold on to this thigh tightly. Hey, but we still have to rely on ourselves at the critical moment. If we rely on them to save our lives, we would have died long ago. Even if we can wait, I guess our family will not just give us a few boxes of vegetables as errand fees to get rid of the problem. Jing's mother felt emotional and secretly decided that she couldn't let her daughter stand in the front all the time. At her age, She should be carefree, not relying on her to protect the family alone. As soon as Minister Niu left, Wang Qiqi came with young master and I, Wang Dezhao, from the darkness. It turned out that they had been here for a while. After learning that the police had come here, they were relieved and left in a hurry. It turned out that the people who blocked the sun scattered after hearing the sirens, but some people broke into the house and killed several families. They had to go and see the casualties. After sending people away, Jingshu's family began to clean up the battlefield. It was a bit difficult to restore the villa to its previous appearance. A lot of vegetables were trampled on the vegetable garden. The ground was full of blood and minced meat, nails, glass slag, lime, etc. Jing's mother, who was cleaning, forced herself to adapt. Third aunt knelt in the middle of the passage and wiped the blood with a cleaning ball. Jing's father repaired the trap. Fortunately, the house and the chicken coop were fine. Originally, I was planning to keep doing this until you die. Jingshu squatted beside Go Etienne and put the first piece of wet paper on his face. But now I regret it. I want to do it a few more times to vent my anger. Go Etienne struggled hard and shook his head. He felt suffocated, and he was getting more and more suffocated and uncomfortable. It felt like his blood vessels were going to explode. Jingshu added one by one. I heard that the most powerful eunuchs in ancient times would die after pasting 12 sheets. How many sheets can you hold out? Let's try 6 sheets first. Go Etienne's veins began to bulge. Jingshu took down all 8 sheets of paper. Not bad. Let's try 9 sheets. Go Etienne took a deep breath and began to tremble and twitch all over. Please, give it to me, woo-woo, I really beg you. Jingshu continued to paste one by one on Go Etienne's face, as if she didn't hear it. She murmured softly, I am most afraid of death, so I hate it most when someone puts me in a dead end. You don't know, death is really terrible. Do you know how terrible it is? Go Etienne began to struggle violently. His veins bulged as if he was about to explode at any time, and slowly. Go Etienne could no longer move. 11 sheets, actually not bad. Jingshu dealt with the body and sorted out the villa. After sorting out in the evening, the whole family held a family meeting. The world has changed and is no longer peaceful. If it weren't for Jingshu's decisive killing today, the whole family might not have survived. So starting from tomorrow, except for Jing Nai, everyone else will start practicing with a crossbow to prevent this from happening again, and they will also have to carry a knife with them in the future. The most important thing is that the trap level of the villa must be upgraded. It must be more perverted and more lethal. The surveillance continued to be turned on. After all the traps in the villa were repaired, the whole family rested in the villa for a night. The next day, Jing's father, Jingshu and Jingyi began to study how to complete more powerful traps. This net is still too gentle. I want to use steel plates directly, dense steel barbs on them, and drop them from the air. If they can't be crushed to death, they will be stabbed to death. And this is also convenient, and we don't have to replenish arrows. Jingshu said, touching her chin. I didn't dare to say it before, after all. How could a girl come up with such a vicious method? But after Wang Xuemei's tragic incident yesterday, the whole family no longer objected and passed it unanimously. A happy family of 3 died in the blink of an eye. Wang Xuemei not only had to face the cruel life in the future, but even more tragically, she was toyed with by so many men yesterday, and it was filmed into a video and uploaded to the WeChat group. It is conceivable that Wang Xuemei didn't know how to face the people in the community. When Wang Qiqi and others arrived, Wang Xuemei was tortured to death and tied to the sofa, but she was still alive. Afterwards, Wang Xuemei wanted to commit suicide. There was no point in her living. Jingshu sent the video of Go Etienne being tortured to death to Wang Qiqi and asked him to show it to Wang Xuemei, and then she said nothing. Whether to live or die depends on personal choice. If you can't get over it, it's better to die. After all, there will be various natural disasters and man-made disasters in the future, and you will see countless people, various ways of death, and you never know which way of death you will be patronized by. I think it's still very dangerous if a fish slips through the net. Can we set up another wire mesh? Then we can shoot arrows in front.
Wu Yui suggested.
Jingshu gave Wu Yui a thumbs up. Wire mesh alone is not enough and has no killing power. Our advantage is that we have electricity at home. We can directly change it to an electric grid. The wire mesh doesn't need to be very high, but it must be wide enough to block the entire yard. They can only rush over after destroying the wire mesh, buying us more time. The villa trap was upgraded to this. Jingshu had to find materials for them. Jing's father and Jing's grandfather would prepare the materials first. It took the family 2 days to clean up the villa. After all, they had to save water. The third aunt was a practical person. She didn't say much and just worked all the time. No wonder she could stay in the government agency as a chef, adding an in-system identity to the end of the world. After 6 months of getting along, Jingshu discovered that Sangu Jinglai was a strong woman, quick at work and a Virgo. She also had obsessive-compulsive disorder, and everything had to be neat and clean. She couldn't stand even hair on the floor and had to clean it up. She was the type of person who did it without saying anything. Wu Yui was the opposite. She was a Libra. She would rather lie down than stand. Her mind was 1,000 times more active than her body. Some of the vegetables in the villa's vegetable garden were destroyed and could only be fed to livestock. The door needed a new lock cylinder, but fortunately the other losses were not great. According to statistics, a total of 3 families died in the community on the day of the Bairi robbery and 2 women were raped. Jingshu knew that one of them was Zhang Bingbing from Building 4, who often spoke in the group. 3 days had passed since the incident, but the frightened residents of the community no longer dared to go out, and even dared not go to the public toilet downstairs. All supermarkets in Wucheng were closed and stopped selling anything. This caused people who didn't have food in their homes to be out of food, and even had the idea of robbing. Anyway, it was so chaotic and there was no police to manage it, so whoever had food could be robbed. People with less food in their stores could still eat a little every day, but they panicked as they saw the decreasing amount of food. Even people in the community began to protest. They didn't know how long they could last with the last 2 bags of rice at home. Complaints and fears began to erupt on the internet, and the theory of doomsday was officially accepted by everyone. Just like Jingshu's previous life, most people hid at home and read Weibo posts. One moment, that community was robbed again, and the next moment, this community was controlled by someone. In some places, water trucks didn't even go to deliver water. The news channel reported national events as steadily as Mount Tai. On May 2, 2023, food factories such as Master Kong officially joined the central government agencies and became its subdepartments. They began to introduce dehydrated vegetable products, hoping to produce food for the public again soon. On May 3, 2023, China Mobile, China Unicom, and China Telecom were officially merged into one company and acquired by the central government, becoming a state-owned enterprise, leading the 6G era and achieving free traffic. It is expected that the phone fee system will be cancelled within 1 year, and the whole people will start the internet era. On May 4, 2023, there was also a big event in Wucheng recently. The incident of the Zhaitian party going to the Xinshe district police station to rob guns was exposed. At that time, the Zhaitian party gathered more than 200 people with 2 grenades that they got from nowhere and blew up the police station. They threw another one into the police station, killing and injuring more than 20 police officers, and broke in to implement the plan. But things are always beyond everyone's expectations, because more than 200 people of the Zhaitian party were stumped by the safe in the armory. The various saws and hammers they brought could not smash the safe. In the end, the safe locked itself due to the wrong password. They wanted to take the safe away, but it was connected to the whole wall, so they had to drag away half of the wall. After they found the armory, they learned their lesson and asked for the password. It turned out to be a 3-way password. Not only did they need to confirm it from the leader, but they also needed to confirm it from the network. In the end, they had no choice but to kill all the policemen inside and run away. It is said that Jingshu had never encountered anyone with a gun in her previous life. If the guns in the police station were really so easy to be robbed, there would be gunfights every day like in the United States. After all, the ones with guns are all fathers, just like Jingshu now has 3 guns, and the origins are also clear, which can be said to be full of confidence. Jing's mother rested for a few days, and together with Jingshu and Jing's father, they took things to thank Minister Niu. Now, they must be fully armed and hold weapons when they go out. Otherwise, they are likely to be robbed and killed. Wuching is now in chaos. The prices of iron doors and guardrails have increased tenfold. Every household has installed windows and doors. Unfortunately, these are just a little troublesome in front of robbers. The family discussed for a long time what to give. So-called gift should be sent to the heart of the person. Otherwise, if you give a gift that the person doesn't like, it's like flattering the horse, which is useless. It must cater to what Minister Niu likes. What is your Minister Niu like? Jing's father asked. If you ask me, you have to give what he needs the most. This is called sending charcoal in the snow. What he likes is icing on the cake and dispensable. Jing's mother expressed her opinion. If you ask me, it's better to give Minister Niu something than to give it to his wife and son. Jing's Shu told her about the incident with the fat boy Niu Ben that day. Jing's father showed an expression of, we are all in the same boat. Since his wife likes to eat strawberries, let's give them strawberries. It just so happens that we can also give them soil. Minister Niu's family must not lack electricity, and they can continue to grow a batch of strawberries. Jing's mother's eyes lit up. How can people remember you if you give them all these favors at once? If you give them so much favors once, do you have to send them with the roots and soil next time? If you bring some strawberries every time, will you be appreciated every time? Jing Shu sighed. Jing's mother is a little too honest. When she is good to someone, she is really good to him, unlike Jingshu, who is so cunning and treacherous. Sometimes Jingshu even wonders if she is actually a villain created by a certain author. Otherwise, how come she has done everything that villains like to do? Okay, things are valuable because they are scarce. Let's send a pound of strawberries. That little fat guy likes to eat nuts, so let's send a pound of cashews, which are nutritious and delicious. Minister Niu's family has no shortage of water and electricity, and they may not lack vegetables in general. Let's send a small jar of pickled mustard and 30 eggs. Eggs have become a more scarce food than vegetables at this time. All the chickens in the farms have died. In addition to the free-range chickens raised by every household in the countryside, there are also some poultry kept in the constant temperature room of the government's animal husbandry with air conditioning. Animal husbandry is of the same nature as the Ministry of Agriculture, but after the end of the world, it is basically only supplied to the upper class as a luxury item for the upper class. Just like before the end of the world, luxury goods were only supplied to 3% of the population. After the end of the world, the truly powerful people have no shortage of these. At 1500 hours in the afternoon, a family came to the door with gifts to flatter him. To thank him for selling favors and rescue. Minister Niu's home is in the civil servants community in the city. Those who can live here are all middle-level leaders or above. Next to the community is the 2nd Brigade of the Armed Police, which patrols 24 hours a day. Cars are not allowed to enter. When you enter the community, you are still let in by Minister Niu. Everyone scans their identity information again, which shows that the management is strict and the safety factor is extremely high. A public toilet was temporarily built in each building, which was cleaned up, and there were street lights in the community. Climbing up to the 5th floor, Niu's wife opened the door. The house was bright with electric lights on, tidy, and there was no unpleasant smell. The temperature was around 26 degrees Celsius, and the air conditioner was obviously turned on. Everything seemed the same as before the end of the world. Look at how rushed you are. You came after dinner and cleaned up. It would have been better if you came earlier. Niu's wife was wearing a red skirt, her hair was casually tied to her ears with a clip, her eyebrows were thin and curved, and although she was not wearing any makeup, she looked very young and energetic. Although she said this, Niu's wife had a sharp increase in her favorability towards this family. Now that food is so scarce, the most taboo is to go to the boss's house to eat and drink without any tact. A few days ago, several groups of people came specifically during meal times and brought some tea or antiques that were not used at all, which made her so angry that she made Lao Niu kneel down and lose another 3.8 kilograms. The two families introduced each other and greeted each other. Nyo's wife called Nyo Ben, who was practicing the violin, out and made tea for Jingshu's family and served candies and some melon seeds. The most surprising thing was that there were cherry tomatoes, commonly known as small tomatoes. Jingshu's family didn't come to them for nothing. Those words of thanks were kept in mind, and it was better to come in a practical way. This is charcoal grilled cashews. I saw that the child liked it very much, so I asked someone to get him a pound of cashews. Nuts are nutritious and better than snacks. The little fat boy's eyes lit up and he shouted sweetly, "Thank you, Sister Jingshu." Mrs. Nyo smiled and Minister Nyo breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, his wife was satisfied. The people in front of him were all pale. This is homemade pickled mustard tuber. It's delicious. Vegetables are in short supply now. Eat this occasionally to change the taste. Minister Nyo and Mrs. Nyo smiled with satisfaction. This is a more precious ingredient than grain. The production of mustard tuber was discontinued half a year ago, and there are too few to see now. They tried a few pieces on the spot and showed surprised expressions. They kept praising that it was so delicious. Moreover, it was impossible to have vegetables in all 3 meals a day. It was really delicious to eat it for breakfast or dinner. I heard from Nyo Lubin that his mother loves to eat strawberries the most. It just so happens that my family has planted some strawberries, not many. I'll bring you some next time when there are some. Mrs. Nyo was finally excited. She said, "Oh, my baby's son knows how to think about his mother." Then she said, "Oh, you're too polite. When you got into trouble that day, I asked Lao Nyo to find someone quickly. The frog you gave me last time was really great. In the past, there were all kinds of flying insects in the house every day, which destroyed a lot of food. They were everywhere in the water and food. Since we got the frogs, there are no insects in the house, and it also gives Nyo Lubin something to do, and he no longer complains of being bored. I said at the time that you must accept this favor." When Jingshu's family finally took out the eggs, Minister Nyo had already reserved a promotion spot for Jing's mother in his heart. Mrs. Nyo was already smiling, and silently decided to unlock a new posture for Lao Nyo that he had always dreamed of tonight. "You dead ghost, I'll fulfill your wish tonight." Jing's mother didn't know why Minister Nyo looked at her with excitement in the next few days, and wanted to treat her like a lucky star. Minister Nyo implicitly mentioned the tastes of several leaders and some things that were missing at home, and the farm could focus on taking care of them at that time. He also talked about the recent new policies and reforms so that Jing's mother could be prepared. In the end, Nyo's wife repeatedly invited them to dinner, and Jing's family left with regret because they had urgent matters at home. "Hey, I was really stupid before and I couldn't keep up with the news. Now I know why people are climbing so fast at such a young age," Jing's mother said with emotion. The next day after the family returned, Jing's mother started working. Although it was chaotic outside, people in government agencies still had to go to work, and the special cars for commuting were equipped with police and security guards. Recently, each agency has summoned hundreds of family members and security guards to provide a meal. Only those with connections can be competent. At the same time, the first batch of moldy mushrooms will be out soon, and the government also wants to implement the new policy quickly. After all, a small number of people have no food, and the supermarkets don't sell it. What can they do? In order to avoid death, they can only rob. In order to stabilize the society, the first step is to ensure that everyone can have food to eat. And Jingshu doesn't need to walk so far to walk the chickens now. There are ready-made corpses at the door, and they give birth to nests of carrion worms, all of which are eaten by fat chickens. On this day, Jingshu's acting skills burst out. She conjured up many sacks of corn from the basement. When she was about to have a corn feast with Jingnai, the phone rang like a death-chasing ghost. Wang Qiqi's trembling voice came from the phone. "Jingshu, can you drive to Wucheng County to pick up me and Wang Dezhao? Don't you want steel bars and wire? I can get you a batch." Jingshu frowned. "What are you doing over there? What's that sound over there?" Killing. Wang Dezhao killed more than a dozen people. He killed all the people who sold him fake vegetables and killed his wife last time. But he is not going to make it anymore. Come and have a look. Jingshu frowned. Not to mention that she has been worrying about steel bars and barbed wire these days. She didn't stock up on these in large quantities in her previous life. She only knew that during this period of time, every household installed more anti-theft bars and reinforced doors, which led to a crazy increase in the price of these materials. When there was demand in this life, the material factories had already closed down. Jing Shu was about to steal some, but found that all the major manufacturers were empty. Then she suddenly realized that as long as it was a strategic material, it had been smuggled away by the government and stored up, and it would be used at a critical time. Because there is such a clause in the law that when the country is in crisis, the local governments have the right to levy all strategic materials. Half of the police force in Wuching must be doing these things. Otherwise, how can we explain that they are empty when we need something, and the armed police and special police are mysteriously invisible all day, and they say that their responsibilities are not to arrest people now? Another point is that the son Hengjin, who finally became the logistics boss of Wuching before the end of the world, has been busier than Jing Shu in the past 6 months of the end of the world. The express delivery industry was suddenly integrated into a state-owned enterprise department by the state 3 months ago. After SF Express, China Post, Sanyao, and other companies became the leaders and took charge of other express logistics, it completely faded out of the screen. Even Huabei and Jebei, which can borrow money every month, have stopped their business. Ma Dad has changed his career, without knowing it, and Wanda Wang Jianlin is still a grandfather-level figure with hundreds of billions of debts. How many people will be killed if such a person falls? So he still needs good resources. His son Wang Tsongxi also released the news that he has set up dozens of Wang Tsongxi's secret grain warehouses all over the country, and he will announce them when he is really at the end of his rope. People all over the countryside that seeing Wang Tsongxi's wasteful life, they knew that Wang Dad was still so rich. Jingshu was only concerned with survival in her previous life and did not pay attention to these things. In this life, she found some doubts. After knowing the news, many giants began to change their careers and started a new round of dividing the cake. Hengjin always occupies the first place on the cover of WeChat Sports, with more than 20,000 steps every day. When asked what he does, he has always been transporting goods, unloading goods, and taking orders. It's the end of the world. Why are you so busy as a logistics person? Who will place orders for you? Now I seem to understand a little bit. It seems that it is always in the hands of 3% of people. Hello? Hello? The anxious voice from the other end of the phone interrupted Jingshu's thoughts. Okay, send me a location and I'll pick you up. Jingshu put on a bandage, alcohol, and some trauma medicine and hurried to Wuching County, 30 kilometers away. Wang Dezhao lay on the bed of the closed small hotel with a pale face, groaning softly. His right shoulder to the neck was deeply cut by a kitchen knife, deep into the bone, and blood was all over the floor. When Jingshu arrived, he was almost in shock, but he still insisted on keeping his eyes open. The first thing Wang Dazhao said to Jingshu was, "Save me. I thought everyone was dead, but one person still escaped. I'm going to kill him myself." He panted and said intermittently, "After you avenge me, my life is yours." Wang Qiqi walked back and forth anxiously. All major hospitals have run out of medicine. You injured the artery. You will die if the knife is pulled out. It would be more reliable to think of some last words so that I can avenge you. In any case, go home first. I have medicine. You can take it to the hospital and let the doctor try it. Wang Dazhao laughed bitterly. A place without them is not home. If I die unfortunately, you don't need to avenge me. With this injury, he will be dead if he runs back. Let me do it. Jingshu put down the medicine box and tore Wang Dazhao's clothes. Hey, Jingshu, what do you want to do? Wang Qiqi ran over. The knife can't be pulled out. The wound is too big and needs hemostatic forceps and stitches. Jingshu ignored Wang Qiqi. Your life is mine, so take good care of it in the future. Jingshu pried open Wang Dazhao's mouth, stuffed a drop of spiritual spring water and a mess of hemostatic drugs into his mouth, and took a gulp of water. Then, before either of them could react, she pulled out the kitchen knife, and blood immediately sprayed Wang Qiqi's face. It's over. Wang Qiqi thought to herself at the time, and Wang Dazhao screamed in pain. Unexpectedly, Jingshu quickly treated the wound and bandaged it in the end. Okay, let's go. Wang Qiqi was really frightened by this fierce behavior. He stood there and swallowed a mouthful of blood. It's fine? How did you stop the bleeding? It was clearly cut on the artery. While the knife is not paying attention, okay, go back and take care of it. After you get well and get revenge, I still have something for Wang Dazhao to do. Jingshu said with narrowed eyes. She has lived in the end times for 10 years. People often die in front of her while she is eating, or die of illness, cold, or die in the snow after being left behind during migration, so she doesn't have the habit of saving people like Hua Tuo. Death is a very common thing. But if saving Wang Dazhao can gain his loyalty, Jingshu is willing to try. She does need someone to do some things. If Wang Dazhao disappoints her, she will take back this life. Before Wang Qiqi helped Wang Dazhao get into the car, he took out a dozen newspapers and spread them on the back seat, and then the two of them sat in. I was afraid that I would make your car dirty again, so I found some newspapers. It's not to mention that Wang Qiqi is a very detailed person and knows how to deal with people. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gotten along well with the people in the steel bar processing machinery factory. He did get some steel bars for Jingshu, but the quantity was not enough. And seeing that the huge factory machines were idle, Jingshu asked to make heavy barbed steel plates directly, and found steel mesh, which made Jingshu feel very safe. In the end, Jingshu used a black pig to exchange for steel bars worth more than 100,000 yuan before the end of the world, and made 5 barbed steel plates and a steel mesh that spanned the villa yard. Of course, the value of a pig is far more than that. Jingshu also asked to make a real steel bar mace. Due to the limited craftsmanship, the stick and the mace head were made separately and then combined into one through the buckle inside. The mace head is an elliptical steel ball with 20 centimeters long steel bar barbs welded on it, which has great destructive power. But the advantage is that if it is necessary to separate them, they can become real steel rods and maces with iron chains. The whole mace weighs 52 kilograms, which is the same weight as Jingshu. It is a little difficult for Jingshu to lift it. If the mace head is removed, it will be just right. But Jingshu's strength is still growing. I believe it won't be long before she can fully control the mace. Jingshu's advantage is her strength, so the mace that can best play to her advantage is a very good choice. After running around for a few days, Jingshu finally transported all the finished products back home, and Jing's father and Jing's grandfather began to make the final transformation without stopping. Early in the morning of May 16th, Wang Dazhao came to visit. You saved me that day, and now I have taken revenge. From now on, my life belongs to you. When Jingshu first met Wang Dazhao, he still had side bangs, a sunny boy. Now he has a buzz cut, his face is full of vicissitudes, but his will is firm. This is a person who has been baptized by the end of the world and has no more ties. I want you to be my informant and sneak into the Zhaitian party to help me find out some information.
Jingshu said slowly.
She had always been unable to figure out some problems in her previous life. She was also afraid that Zhaitian would come to this community after hearing the news of the annihilation of Bairi. She had to prepare in advance. You have to know that the Zhaitian party is a group of lawless people who are purely taking revenge on society. Their fun is killing and abusing. I don't know which bastard exposed the post about the brothers Zhaitian and Bairi. One Zhaitian went to the police station but couldn't steal a gun, and the other Bairi was annihilated in a remote community. These are the topics of Wuqing recently, which really pushed their community to the forefront. Wang Dazhao agreed without saying anything, and Jingshu explained some important matters such as, it is best to use a pseudonym, never be photographed by the camera, never have your information scanned, and never be recorded. Because Jingshu knew that no matter whether the police were really too busy or deliberately killed a group of people as Wu Yui predicted, it would not take a few months. When the government had time and the cake was divided, it would be a bloody era of change. Anyone caught committing crimes such as robbery and rape would be killed. Anyone with a record of robbery and other crimes would also be killed. It didn't matter if you could escape for a while, but at that time it was already an era of eating from the same pot. You could get food by swiping your face for authentication. Anyone who was recorded was blacklisted. If you dared to get food, you would definitely be arrested. If you didn't get food, you would die. In her previous life, Jingshu thought that this world was hopeless, but China managed to turn the tables by controlling the power of food. Wang Dazhao signed up for Zhaoyan, holding the bloody head of his enemy as a token of his loyalty. It was said that it caused a stir in the small circle that day. The coconuts that Jingshu had been thinking about were finally planted. 6 coconut trees nearly 30 meters tall stood in the magic cube space, with densely packed large coconuts on them. Jingshu picked them all with her mind and prepared to wait for the next batch of coconuts. The speed should be much faster. After all, it took Jingshu more than 3 months to plant coconut trees. If she couldn't harvest a batch, she would cut it down and plant other ones. At that time, apples, apricots, and even lychees, which also took several years to bear fruit, only took 1 month. For this reason, Jingshu had another bold idea. The taller the fruit tree, the less the effect of the magic cube space on its reduction, and the more time it would take. This discovery made Jingshu very excited. Would things planted in the soil grow faster? Does that mean that decades of medicinal materials can mature in the magic cube space in just 2 or 3 months? Jingshu wants to try it next time. The light taste of coconut juice is good to drink as water, but Jingshu still likes to drink coconut milk. According to the method in the recipe book, mix the coconut meat with coconut juice, crush it and boil it until it becomes viscous. Finally, mix the squeezed juice with milk and add sugar according to the proportion, and the delicious coconut milk is ready. The residue after squeezing the juice is not wasted. It is very good for feeding fish and pigs. Jingshu collected 2 cubic meters of space and put coconut milk in it. Drinking coconut milk in big gulps, Jingshu thought happily and painfully, but it's a pity that she can only enjoy it by herself, because even Jingshu, who has explosive acting skills, can't make up the origin of coconut milk. At most, she will save water in the past 6 months. She won't drink water. Just drink juice every day. It feels good to change the taste every day. Since the natural gas was stopped, Jingshu's family has been cooking with coal. After all, it is not very convenient, and the heat is not easy to control. A few days ago, Jingshu brought some corn, but Jingnai said that there were too many to eat. As a result, she boiled some of the corn, and Jingshu ate dozens of them by herself. Considering the inconvenience of cooking, she made some corn cakes. The golden corn cakes were fluffy and sweet, crispy and delicious and chewy. They were also very delicious when eaten cold, and could even be eaten as snacks. Jingshu's favorite was the golden corn cake, which was really a famous dish that she never got tired of. The corn kernels were mixed with starch, flattened in an oil pan, and fried until the corn kernels were golden and crispy, sprinkled with coarse sugar, and eaten directly from the pan. It was crispy, sweet, and sticky, and the sweetness of the corn was stimulated, which completely satisfied the taste buds. High-end ingredients can often make delicious food with the simplest cooking methods. Jingshu secretly made a lot of them and put them in the space. Now she has to have a few pieces for snacks, otherwise she'll feel uncomfortable all over. When Jingshu was cooking at home during the 2 days of free time, many things happened outside. Wang Luoba number 15. At everyone, does anyone have some food to sell to me? Luo Zhu number 9. At Wang Chi, everyone's food is almost gone. You have to think of a solution. Now there is not enough water to drink. Wang Chi said, Inside information, the first batch of vegetables from the government will be delivered soon. Everyone just hold on for a few days and wait for news. On May 19th, a robbery and murder case still occurred in the community. There was a couple in Building 1 and they really had no food, so they went to Wang Xuemei's house in Building 2 to borrow food. Because everyone in the group knew that her family had at least 10 bags of rice, they originally thought that Wang Xuemei would be very cowardly after what happened, and she would hand over the food with a simple scare. But who would have thought that Wang Xuemei's reaction was too excited? She picked up a kitchen knife and chopped the 2 people who came to her door without saying a word. When Wang Qiqi arrived, the people had been chopped hundreds of times by Wang Xuemei, and it was impossible to tell whether they were male or female. After getting her phone back, Wang Xuemei posted a message in the group, saying, "Except for those who helped me, this is the fate of anyone who wants to borrow food." She also posted a picture of the scene, which scared the whole group. From then on, the title of Wang Crazy accompanied Wang Xuemei. But it still couldn't stop the people who had run out of food. They had eaten everything they could eat at home. No one sold food, and there was no place to get food, so they had to rob. On May 20th, Jing's father was robbed 3 times on the way to send Jing's mother to work. The first time was in the community. Jing's father was stopped by a roadblock just after he drove to the gate of the community. At the same time, 5 people with knives rushed out. Jing's father was so scared that he stepped on the accelerator and ran over 2 people. The last person wanted to escape, and Jing's father chased him and crashed the car into the roadblock. With a bang, the car stopped and the people were squeezed in the middle. When Jing Shu received the call and rushed over, she saw 3 people still breathing on the ground. The one in the middle who was squeezed was staring with blood gushing out of his mouth. He was not dead yet. If the car fell backwards and the pressure was gone, he would die instantly. Jing Shu pulled out a knife and handed it to Jing's father. "Since they are from the community, let's kill them all." Seeing that Jing's father was a little hesitant, Jing Shu added, "Think about my mother. What would happen if she was hijacked? Think about whether these people would retaliate against us after they escape. The peaceful era has passed, and the law will not take effect again until at least the next round of reforms. Killing people in this inhumane half-year is not against the law." Jing's father resolutely took the knife, gritted his teeth, and nodded heavily. He ended the life of the squeezed person with 1 knife, and it didn't seem so bad to kill people personally. What's more strange is that his body began to secrete adrenaline, his body temperature rose, and his heartbeat accelerated, and he was actually a little excited. The people lying on the ground groaning saw this scene and begged for mercy. "Don't kill me. I just ran out of food at home and wanted to borrow some. I've been hungry for 2 days. Give us something to eat. We are all from the same community. I just heard that you have a lot of food at home. Please spare us." Just when Jingshu thought her father would be full of sympathy again, Jing's father ended their lives one by one. The last person saw that the situation was not right and used all his strength to get up and run. Unexpectedly, Jing's mother in the car opened the door and stabbed the person's neck with a knife she brought with her. Jingshu sighed. This person who is not familiar with the business only knows how to stab randomly. Isn't it torture to fail to kill with 1 knife? He went up and quickly finished the man off with a knife. Buzi pressed the wound to prevent blood from splattering, and then took out the knife that Jing's mother had dropped in the body, wiped it clean, and handed it to Jing's mother. Jing's mother hugged Jingshu, her body trembling slightly. Jingshu patted Jingma's back gently. She would get used to it. She was so scared the first time, too. Jingma always comforted her that everything would be fine. Isn't everything fine now? Compared with the life in the previous life, which was worse than pigs and dogs, in this life, she could eat enough, live in a good house, and drink enough water. She was already standing in the middle of the pyramid. Let's go. Fortunately, the energy car was not seriously damaged. The obstacles and corpses were moved away. The family said nothing in silence. Jingshu took the mace and went with them. Everyone was adapting to this end of the world. It seemed that only Jingshu, an outsider, was watching the incident happen again indifferently. Jingshu told Wang Qiqi about the robbery, and finally Wang Qiqi spoke in the group. Wang Qiqi. At everyone, there was another attempted robbery in the community just now, and all 5 robbers died. Half a year ago, there were more than 130 people in the community who received water, but now there are only more than 80 people who receive water every day. Instead of robbing others and losing their lives, it is better to think of something practical. Wang Cuihua sent a voice message. Young people nowadays, we old people go to peel tree bark every day. There is still a lot of grass in the back mountain. We can eat it after cleaning it, mixing it with rice in the rice cooker and cooking it at high pressure for an hour. Fat girl number 25. The grasshoppers in the back mountain are fat, and they are delicious when roasted. Wang Qiqi. Ask more experienced people in the group if you have nothing to do. Now, everyone has nothing to eat. The government will distribute the first batch of vegetables in a few days. Just hold on. The second time she was robbed was on the way to work at the corner of the management office. There were several large rocks placed directly in the middle. The energy truck is now valuable. Let's just rob the energy truck and exchange it for food. Suddenly, more than a dozen people with sticks and kitchen knives rushed out from the surroundings. Jing's father also had experience this time. He stepped on the accelerator and backed up, knocking down a group of people. The front of the car turned 180 degrees and knocked down another group of people. Several people climbed on the car door, and others hit the glass with sticks.
Pong.
With a sound, the car glass shattered and hit Jingshu next to it. In the case of violent shaking and glass obstacles, the crossbow is obviously not as useful as a gun. Jingshu grabbed the stick that was poked in with one hand and pointed the gun at the people outside with the other hand. She fired a few shots and injured 3 people. The people around were also scared. Then screams were heard, and the crowd scattered. There are guns. Run. That bastard is talking nonsense. They have guns. Jingshu got out of the car with a mace and started hammering in the dark, instantly killing 3 more people. Jing's father turned on the high beam and stepped on the accelerator to hit the people who were trying to run. An unequal battle ended before the meeting. In the dark, Jingshu's eyes were frighteningly bright. She raised her gun and started shooting at the fleeing people one by one. No one escaped. Jingshu grabbed the person who just spoke. Who did you say was talking nonsense? What did that person say? Jingshu put the gun to the chin of the second-rate guy. It's the women in this unit. They said that there were 2 weak women in the car passing by here every day. Let us rob the energy truck and exchange it for a lot of food. The man had just finished speaking when the bus that picked up and dropped off the workers of the plantation management department every day arrived behind him. The driver stopped the bus, and a dozen security guards got off the bus first, and then many employees got off. Huang Long, the head of the security team, first confirmed Jing's mother's safety and then asked, "Director Su, what happened?" The driver, Master Liu, was frightened. What's going on with all these people lying on the ground? Jingshu sneered and pulled Yu Kai and I out from the crowd. Is it her? What did she tell you? Tell me again. Yes, it's her. Then she told it again. There were whispers around. I didn't expect Deputy Director Yu to be such a person. Deputy Director, she was demoted 3 levels and laid off for training. Can he be arrested? Or can he be fired? Yu Kai and I glared at Jingshu with gritted teeth. This is not evidence, Sulonji, I tell you. You only have the right to transfer personnel, but not the right to fire me. My position is in the new city government. It's not a place you can reach out to. Bang. A gunshot scared everyone. Yu Kai and I sat on the ground with weak legs. Jingshu let go of the man in her hand and let him fall freely next to Yu Kai and I. Is it so important sometimes to have evidence or not? She blew on the muzzle of the gun. Yu Kai and I screamed and cried in fear. A foul smell came from her lower body. You can't kill me. I'm a formal employee of the agency. If you kill me, you will be caught. I hope you can put yourself in the right position. Also, it's best not to be alone these days. Haha. She turned her head and threw the stone blocking the road away. It fell to the ground with a thud, making Yu Kai and I tremble again. Jing's mother stepped forward and said, in view of Yu Kai's poor attitude during the re-employment training, she will be demoted to a clerk and given an additional year of training. Yu Kai and I, since you like working here so much, don't leave. I will teach you step by step. It's time for her to stand up. People always pick on the weak. The surroundings were suddenly silent because the employees working in the management department are all civil servants and their families have some connections. Besides, Jingma usually doesn't give them the impression of being very strong, but today, it can be regarded as a broadening of the horizons of most of the employees. As soon as I arrived at the management department, the small circle of employees began to spread the news of today's events. The daughter of Director Su's family took a gun and killed someone. She was extremely strong. Director Su's husband drove a car and killed more than a dozen robbers. These robbers were called by Yu Kai and I. Director Su wanted to punish Yukai and I, and so on. Among the 13 districts of Wucheng, only the management department of the development zone is responsible for the vegetables of the civil servants of the entire Wucheng government. Jing Ma's responsibility in the planting management department is to provide 500 kilograms of vegetables for 5,000 civil servants every day and 500 kilograms of vegetables for 500 leaders. Individual leaders have to provide according to their taste. That is, as long as they are formal civil servants, they will have 100 grams of fresh vegetables every day. Compared with other management departments that have to cultivate 100,000 tons of moldy mushrooms to provide food for hundreds of thousands of people, it is really the difference between small pots and big pots. The management department has concentrated all kinds of resources to cultivate vegetables without power failure for 12 hours, and the first batch of vegetables will be provided in a few days. Jingma watched Yukai and I making fertilizer from a distance while eating her almonds. The headlights shone on Yukai and I, and there were countless flying insects around her. Yukai and I wore rain boots and a mask, but she still couldn't block the stench. She stepped on the dung pile and kept mixing the dung with wood ash, Epsom salt, and hay with farm tools. She had to crush the dung to make it fully volatilize. At first, Yukai and I was still stepping hard with anger, but then she slowly lost her strength. It was lunchtime soon. The management department provided one meal every day. Now it was rice mixed with soil and a dry fried lettuce. It was rare to have rice with vegetables now, so the security guards were scrambling to get in. "Don't eat or leave work if you don't finish this today," Su Longji shouted from a distance. Yukai and I threw the tools in anger and ran over. Jing's father had just set up a small table and a small stool. Jing Shu took out a pile of big steaks from the insulated box, covered with black pepper sauce, a pile of sweet and sour radishes, a large bowl of fried fish, a large bowl of bean sprouts and meat, and a simple spinach and shrimp soup. "What, you want to go on strike?" Su Longji frowned. The smell coming from Yukai and I was too bad. Jing Shu picked up the steak with chopsticks, bit off half of it, and then put a chopstick of bean sprouts into her mouth, and took a sip of soup. Yukai and I had forgotten what she wanted to argue. In the blink of an eye, Jing Shu ate 3 steaks, half a bowl of fried fish, and half a bowl of soup. Yukai and I smelled the fragrance and kept swallowing her saliva, especially the steaks. She recognized them all. The ones with bones were T-bone steaks, and there was longan meat. The last 2 pieces of sirloin in the refrigerator were not eaten, and then they grew maggots and were eaten by carrion worms. The last time she ate meat seemed to be 2 months ago, when the dead old man gave her frozen pork. With a wow sound, Yukai and I burst into tears, swallowing her saliva while feeling extremely aggrieved. She also wanted to go up and grab it, but Jing Shu kept pointing the gun in her hand at her, so she didn't dare to get close. There were a total of 16 steaks, and Jing Shu ate 10 of them. Yukai and I watched the whole process from the side and unconsciously opened her mouth as if imagining her own steak. She had almost forgotten what the meat tasted like. She only knew it smelled so good. Life should be stylish. Treat your enemies like you watch me cry while watching me eat steak. It's so pretty. You find someone and I can find someone too, but the person I find is not so gentle. Have you heard of the heaven-shaking party? They like to abuse and rape. Jing Shu threatened Yukai and I casually. Jing Shu decided not to let Yukai die so easily. Sometimes, living is the greatest punishment. The 3rd robbery happened when Jing Shu's family had just finished their meal. When Yukai was so greedy that she couldn't help herself and her stomach kept growling, there were alarm bells and gunshots outside. The 2 sides were not at the same level at all. When dozens of men and women with machetes rushed over, they were shot by the standard police. The battle lasted only a minute. The opponents didn't even get through the gate and scattered again. Now it is certain that the people in Wucheng have nothing to eat at home. Some chose to rob and some chose to peel tree bark and look for insects to eat. There are no wild vegetables. It is difficult for humans and animals to survive in this high temperature, let alone wild vegetables. Wild grass is still alive. After returning home at night, Jingshu learned that her Aunt Jingpan's family had been robbed. Now she only knows that her aunt's leg was chopped and the hospital in the county was closed. She could only wrap it with cloth. I hope it won't get inflamed in such a hot day. Grandma Jing packed her things and went to check the situation tomorrow. Dad Jing couldn't persuade her and had to send Grandma Jing to see her eldest Aunt Jing Pan tomorrow. The next day, she sent her mother to work first. When she came back, Jing Shu pulled back 3 black pigs and put them in a big box on the roof of the car. The whole family was surprised after seeing them. Where did you get so many pigs again? These black pigs were given to me by the person who sold me black pigs last time. Someone robbed his house the day before yesterday, and I saved him. He gave them as a thank you gift. Grandma, don't we still owe the eldest and third aunts 100,000 yuan? Money is worthless now, so let's use black pigs to pay off the debt. Meat is very expensive now, and you can't buy it even for hundreds of thousands. Dad Jing scratched his head. Why do you run into everything? Grandma Jing held Jing Shu's hand and loved her so much. This little devil knew what she was worried about. Her eldest daughter's house was robbed, and there was no food. She was worried that her daughter would not have enough to eat, so Jing Shu wanted to send such a big pig to relieve her worries. Pork is too precious. Why don't you send a few bags of rice to pay off the debt? You can't buy rice outside now. I'll keep the pork and stew it for you. Jing Nai's heart is on Jing Shu. She knows that her youngest son's family is not short of vegetables and rice. For Jing Shu, the Thai fragrant rice in the basement is much more valuable than pigs. Black pigs can give birth to 10 piglets in half a year, and they don't need to be taken care of at ordinary times. After the rice is planted, it has to be shelled, which is very troublesome. Besides, my eldest Aunt Jing Pan risked her life a few months ago to send 3 boxes of apples to everyone. She never said she would pay her back after borrowing her money. But Jing Shu couldn't pretend that she had never borrowed money. At that time, she borrowed everyone's money to buy so many supplies and live such a good life. Black pigs were more than products in the plan. In the end, Jing Shu insisted and kept the 2 boars. She put the sows on the car and went to the countryside to visit the injured Jing Pan. Jing Shu also brought some Yunnan Baiyao and anti-inflammatory drugs. After galloping all the way, Jing Shu, Jing Nai, Jing Ye, and Jing Ba finally arrived at the gate and yard of Jing Pan in the county with a fat pig. A group of people gathered at the closed door, shouting to beat the landlord and divide the food. It was this family who exchanged apples for 1,000 kilograms of wheat from me a while ago. They must have surplus food. They obviously have so much food, but they are unwilling to share it with us who are starving to death. Let's unite. If you don't give us food, we will break down the door and shoot the food. Grab the food. Grab the food. This group of people included both men and women because they were almost naked in the 43 degrees Celsius weather. They were covered with a thick layer of mud to insulate themselves from the heat. Some of them squatted at the door or held stones under their feet to try to climb the high wall that was several meters higher. Some people even threw stones into the yard. The energy truck honked, and the headlights shone on the ragged and black-clad African savages, revealing their hideous faces and the sticks and knives in their hands. At this time, they all leaned towards the car. Jing Nai was so scared that she grabbed Jing Shu's hand. Jing Shu whispered a word of comfort and got off the air-conditioned car. A wave of heat rushed towards her. She slammed the car door shut and fired a shot into the sky. With a bang, the people on the opposite side stopped immediately and looked at Jing Shu in horror as they kept retreating. I'll give you 3 seconds. If you don't leave, I'll shoot. There are 12 bullets left in the gun. You can try to see if I can hit you. She only has 1 gun. What's there to be afraid of? Grab it. Someone still tried to get closer. Bang. The man was shot in the abdomen before he could finish his words. A shrill scream was heard instantly. The people around him immediately scattered and ran away. There was only one person lying on the ground wailing. The door slowly opened a crack, and the flashlight shone in. A big man asked uncertainly, "Is it Jing Shu? Mom? Why are you here? Dad? Is your brother-in-law here? Come in quickly, drive the car in, and talk." The big man was Jing Pan's man, Jing Shu's uncle Wei Chong. Compared with the honest and simple Aunt Jing Pan, he was much more savvy in dealing with people. Wei Chong opened the heavy double iron door and let Jing's father drive the car in. At this moment, Two people suddenly ran out from the darkness. She ran and shouted, "Mom, brother-in-law, it's me. There were so many people gathered at the door just now that we didn't dare to come out." Jingshu narrowed her eyes. Is this her second Aunt Jingzhao whom she hasn't seen for more than 10 years? Next to her was her son, Jingshu's cousin, 26 years old this year, Li Yun, who bullied her when they met when they were young. Looking at the second aunt now, she was originally 180 pounds, but now she has lost weight to 150 pounds. She is wearing a black and gray coat, her body is covered with sweat, her lips are cracked and bleeding, she is wearing loose pants of unrecognizable color, and her hair is messy, not much different from a beggar. Cousin Li Yun is wearing beach pants, also covered in dirt. His lips are dry and peeling, and the athlete's foot on his feet can be smelled from a long distance. Jingshu stays away from them without saying a word. Why are you here? Why don't you stay in the city? It's so chaotic outside. Jing's grandmother blamed. The second Aunt Jingzhao lowered her head, and her cousin Li Yun said, "Grandma, weren't my parents arrested and put in jail? My mother was just released a few days ago, and my father still needs to be reformed in jail. We really have nothing to eat at home, so we came to my aunt's house to borrow some food." Jing's grandmother was shocked. Why are they arrested and put in jail? Why didn't I know? The whole family kept it from you. The eldest uncle, Wei Chong, who was standing on the side, kindly pulled Jing Nai to change the subject. "Mom, Dad, you have come all the way here. Please go in and rest first. Jing Pan has been thinking about you. It is too dangerous outside." The family hurried in again and closed the heavy iron door. Jing Pan was thinking about her eldest daughter, so everyone walked through the yard and went into the house. The eldest Aunt Jing Pan's home was in the town, and the land was not valuable. The square yard was more than 200 square meters. There was a squat toilet in the upper right corner, the door to the apple orchard in the upper left corner, the vegetable field in the middle, the cellar in the lower right corner, the gate in the lower left corner, and a row of houses on the far right, covering a total area of about 500 square meters. When Jingshu came in her previous life, it was still a mud house. 6 or 7 years ago, the national policy was good, and the cost of building materials in urban and rural areas was subsidized, so every household built a beautiful red brick and green tile house, pasted tiles and painted latex paint, and paved the yard with cement. The decoration was almost the same as in the city, and it only cost less than 100,000 yuan. Before the end of the world, a house like this with land and built on it was only worth 200,000 yuan. The apple orchard and several acres of land behind it belonged to the state. The nearest neighbor was 300 meters away. Jingshu looked up at the original 2-meter wall, which was now re-cemented and raised to more than 5 meters. There were also dense nails and wire mesh on it. There were many piles of carrion beetle larvae at the door, indicating that there was a corpse there, but it was just eaten away. The eldest Uncle Wei Chong chose to ignore the screaming people on the ground, indicating that he was used to it. It seems that the eldest aunt's family is not as Jing Nai worried. Jing Nai always said that the eldest aunt was too honest and worried that she would suffer. After entering the room, the eldest aunt was lying weakly on the kong. Jing Nai walked over quickly and scolded Jing Pan first, then looked at the wound. The wound was not deep, but it was cut by a kitchen knife, and the wound was a bit long. Before the end of the world, at least 20 stitches would be needed. Jing Pan only wiped the wound with alcohol and wrapped it with a cloth to stop bleeding. Now the wound has become inflamed and pus has flowed before it has healed. It has infected the surrounding area, and the flesh has rotted. "Where can I get medicine for you now if you are asking for death?" Jing's grandmother pointed at her aunt's head. Jing's grandfather, who had not spoken, finally said, "Okay, save some face for the child." Jingshu took out the medicine box. "Grandma, get out of the way first. I brought medicine with me." A group of people surrounded her and looked at the wound with lingering fear. They watched Jingshu calmly deal with the pus. Those who held the flashlights were shaking a little. Jingshu cut the cloth, scraped off the pus, dug out the rotten flesh. Her hands did not shake at all, and she moved quickly, as if it was not human flesh but a pig's hoof. Then Jing Shu applied anti-inflammatory drugs and Yunnan spray to stop bleeding, dripped a drop of number 3 linquan, and then wrapped it with a bandage. She only kept 3 days of anti-inflammatory drugs. Although Jing Shu had a lot of medicine, she kept them for emergency use. Medicine would become more and more precious in the 10 years of the end of the world. It was Jing Shu who first thought of dripping the spiritual spring directly on the wound. Last time, she used 1 drop of the spiritual spring on Wang Dezhao, which made Jing Shu feel distressed. Later, she suddenly thought that it would be more effective to drip the spiritual spring directly. Then she caught the fat chicken number 1 and the ordinary chicken for experiment. The fat chicken skin was so tough that it took a long time to cut a small wound. After several experiments on both, it was found that the spiritual spring number 3 had a significant effect on external injuries, and it was more effective for people who often drank the spiritual spring. This discovery made Jing Shu very excited. There was another survival skill in the end times. It seemed that she had to study the additional functions of the magic cube space when she had time. The fat chicken had been hiding from Jing Shu recently, but every time Jing Shu called for dinner, it would immediately come running over. It was really unique. It's not serious. It will be fine in 3 days. Jing Shu put away the medicine box and said easily. Of course, if there was no spiritual spring, it might be. The family breathed a sigh of relief. Wei Chong excitedly grabbed his eldest aunt who was sweating in pain. I used a lot of connections to get a little alcohol the other day, but it was useless to wipe it. It still festered. Seeing that it was getting worse, I called to say that I wanted to see you for the last time. Jing Shu is so grateful to your family. Your uncle will remember this favor. Without medicine, the wound was so big and inflamed and festered that the flesh was rotten. What else can you do except wait to die? The eldest aunt lowered her head in embarrassment. Quickly bring some apples for everyone to eat. Wei Chong went to the cellar and got some dry and flat apples. They have been stored for a long time, so just eat them. Jing Shu's mouth was spoiled, and she couldn't get used to these dry apples. She hid in the corner and ate them one by one while peeling Brazilian pine nuts. Second Aunt Jing Zhao quickly took a few and bit them in one bite. Lian swallowed them in 2 mouthfuls with a snap. It seemed that he was starving. Where is my grandson Wei Zheng? Jing Nai looked around but couldn't find anyone. He is digging a well in the apple orchard. There is a severe water shortage now. Each soldier is given 1 bucket of water, which is not enough to irrigate the vegetable garden. Many apple trees have died. We have dug 2 wells. They were still producing water some time ago, but now they are all dead. The town is short of water and food. Wei Chong sighed. Then he talked about the robbery. The town is so small that half of the people know each other. If you borrow money from the first person, you have to lend it to the second person. They are also acquaintances. They knocked on the door and opened it. Without saying a word, they brought people with knives to rob. In the end, they fought. Wei Chong didn't say the ending. Everyone expected it. Only the living party can stand here to speak. Aunt Jingpan was injured. The family exchanged 1,000 kilograms of wheat half a year ago. We removed the bran ourselves, and there are still 700 kilograms of white flour. Mom will give you half of it this time. You and Jing'an live together, and there are more people and more food. Next year, we can't grow anything. If the government doesn't distribute food, I'm afraid many people will starve to death. Wei Chong said. Second Aunt Jing Zhao's eyes lit up. Brother-in-law, lend us some too. The topic turned to the second aunt. Jing Nai looked at the embarrassed second daughter and glared at her fiercely. What happened to you? How did you get caught in the cell? Second Aunt Mosquito hummed. I was short of money some time ago. I sold some cigarettes and alcohol at a high price and was arrested. The cigarettes and alcohol in the whole store were confiscated. Hundreds of thousands of goods were gone. As she spoke, she started crying again. You are short of money? Your family is the best among the 3 sisters. You run a tobacco and alcohol store with an annual income of more than 100,000 yuan. What money do you need? Jing Nai nodded Jing Zhao's head vigorously and scolded. 10 years ago, in the countryside, girls would be scolded by pulling their hair. I bought a villa in Wucheng. Just after the decoration was completed, the house collapsed. It's worthless. Ugh. Second aunt's fat hands squeezed tears. Her lips were cracked and bleeding again when she was excited. She was almost knocked off the chair by her mother, but she didn't dare to resist. This. Wei Chong looked at Jing Pan hesitantly. The eldest Aunt Jing Pan sighed. Wei Zheng has been single for 30 years and finally found a girl. But her family asked for 200 kilograms of flour as a dowry. We gave the dowry and kept some for ourselves. With another person coming to the family, there won't be much left. We can only give you 20 kilograms at most. Li Yun, who was chewing an apple, was unhappy when he heard this. My dad is also waiting for food to save his life in prison. Now in prison, not only is there no food, but there are also a lot of work to do every day. People without food are waiting to starve to death, Grandma. Jingnai glared at Jing Zhao, who was silent. This girl has been cunning since she was a child. As long as Jing Zhao got up, she knew what the girl was going to do. Wasn't it her own idea to instigate her son with all kinds of things? Okay, Jing'an, and I don't want any food. Give Jing Zhao 100 kilograms of the share given to me, and keep the rest for yourselves. After all, we're going to have another person and I might have a grandson next year. Thinking of this, Jingnai smiled again. Old people all like the birth of new life. You don't think about taking advantage of your family anymore. Grandma Jing poked the second aunt's head hard. Last year, I called each of you and asked you to stock up more food. The sisters all stocked up food honestly for fear that it would not be enough, but you, bought a house. This is the last time I helped you. Next time, don't be shameless and ask others to help you. Go and ask your mother-in-law who talks nicely but can't be found when something happens. Jingshu covered her mouth for fear of bursting out laughing. It turned out that the catchphrase, according to my temper when I was young, I would have, really existed. Once the old lady spoke, the whole family had to listen, and the matter was settled. At this time, the screams of the pig came from outside. Jingshu forgot about the business with a cry, and the whole family followed her out. It turned out that someone outside threw a stone and hit the pig. Jingshu and Jing's father hurriedly unloaded the black pig weighing hundreds of pounds from the roof of the car. What is this pig? Wei Chong was really scared when he saw such a big black pig. When he just came in, he didn't even notice what was on the roof of the car. Let's tie it up in a cool place and give it some water. Wei Chong tied the black pig in the cellar, and there were 300 kilograms of wheat bran, just enough to feed the pig. After arriving at the house, Jing Shu told Wei Chong about the previous borrowing of money and the black pig being used to pay off the debt. When Jing Pan and Wei Chong knew that the black pig was sent by Jing Shu's family, they were so moved that they didn't know what to say. This sow is pregnant. I touched it, and there are at least 6 or 7. Wei Chong said, we have enough food. This pregnant pig is too fat, and we dare not take it. It's not easy for you to feed the elderly when food is tight now. Just take it back and slaughter it, and let it give birth to piglets. Besides, we are all family. I didn't expect you to pay back the money. I said that we should just treat it as the money collected by the 3 sisters for her. Jing Pan said, okay, the pigs are all here. They were brought by Jing Shu. This one is for you to pay off your debts. You should take good care of your injuries. Grandma Jing was very proud. Jing Shu was a lovely girl. She was very considerate in everything she did. She loved her granddaughter well. Then raise it to have piglets. Pig essence is very expensive. We just happened to have wheat bran at home. Jing Shu, and I don't know how to thank you. Not only did you save my life, but you also gave me such a valuable thing. Don't worry, I will help you without saying anything in the future. Jing Shu, who was the focus of attention, all of a sudden laughed. She didn't expect help, but just didn't break her promise. She didn't want to repeat the same mistake. Once bitten by a snake, she was afraid of the rope for 10 years. She always looked at everything with a vigilant and defensive look. Jing Zhao couldn't take her eyes off the black pig. When she heard that there were more pigs at home, she was very excited and said, Jing, and I also raised money for you at that time. Don't you have a few pigs at home? Give me one. When Jing's father mentioned this, he felt a little embarrassed. Jing Zhao asked for money sarcastically. The pig was brought by Jing Shu, and now these matters are decided by Jing Shu. Second Aunt Jing Zhao shifted her gaze to Jing Shu, as if she saw the braised sparrows. She came up enthusiastically and wanted to hold Jing Shu's hand, but was dodged. She was not embarrassed and continued to ask, Jing Shu, give me a pig. I also raised money for you when you were in trouble. Aunt, when Grandma called you to remind you to stock up more food, you said that you also wanted to stock up more food, but you were short of money. I returned the money to you after the call. We didn't use the money you raised and returned it, so how can you ask you to raise money for us? Jing Shu said slowly, we still owe my aunt 100,000 yuan and my uncle 100,000 yuan, which is just enough for each of us to pay off the debt. What should I use to pay off the debt, if I give it to you? Besides, we don't owe you anything. Why should I give you a pig? Or, what do you want to exchange it for? The second aunt was speechless and regretted it for a while. If she had known and endured it at that time, she would have now got hundreds of kilograms of black pigs, live pork, which can be exchanged for thousands of kilograms of food, which can be enough for the family to eat for a long time. She hasn't eaten meat for half a year. She drools when she thinks of Dongpa elbow. Why did she ask for money at that time? She is asking for the money just because she is afraid that her mother will be partial to Jing'an and she will not pay it back. Look at Jingpan. She borrowed 100,000 yuan and now she has a pregnant sow. Li Yun coughed. Aunt, why don't you wait for your pigs to give birth and give them to you? Jingpan didn't say anything. Wei Chong said calmly, do you know how to raise pigs? Too high a temperature won't work, too low a temperature won't work. Do you have air conditioning to keep the temperature constant for the pigs? Do you have wheat bran or grain to feed the pigs? Do you have a bucket of water to feed the pigs every day? Li Yun lowered his head in embarrassment. Jingpan was unhappy because she couldn't get the pigs from both sides. Wei Chong said again, okay, I'll send you some meat after the pig is slaughtered. Only then did he coax the two uninvited guests. Wei Chong thought to himself, this pig should be worshipped like an ancestor. I'm afraid it won't be killed. You can wait until the next life. At the same time, Wei Chong made up his mind to build a good relationship with Jingshu's family. He still hoped for breeding next year. If there are any good things in the future, he must think more about her family. He saw today that compared with the simplicity of the past few years, this girl suddenly became powerful. Now she is the boss of this family. Jing Pan is fine, and Jingshu's family is about to leave. Wei Chong went to the cellar to get some vermicelli. He took out all the apples he could, but Jingshu didn't want any. In the end, he couldn't resist and took the frozen autumn pears buried in the ground. They were all black. I heard that you can eat them after taking some back to thaw. They taste very good. In the previous life, there were no conditions, and in this life, I will not make do. I will not eat any food that tastes bad. Li Yun looked at the energy car with shining eyes and wanted to borrow it to drive for a few days, but was rejected by Jingshu. Then he asked Jingshu to take them back to the city, but was rejected by Jingshu again. The mother and daughter were so dirty that the car smelled so bad, and Li Yun's foot odor made her want to stay 3 feet away from him. Go back the way you came. We have something else to do, Jingshu said. Oh, Jingshu, you are so capable, right? Have you forgotten your childhood? Li Yun ran over while the adults were talking after repeatedly hitting a wall. He wanted to teach Jingshu a lesson. Jingshu swept Li Yun with a sweeping leg and tripped him. He fell to the concrete floor with a thud. Li Yun screamed in pain, and the adults who heard the sound rushed out of the house. Jingshu pointed at Li Yun innocently and said, he ran too fast and fell down. Really? You shouldn't have been more careful. You're so old now, learn from Wei Zheng and help with housework. Li Yun gritted his teeth and clenched his fists without saying a word, looking at Jingshu with hatred. Jingshu took out a bottle of Waha AD calcium milk and drank it up. Look, when we were little, you always snatched my AD calcium milk. From now on, you can't snatch it away anymore. If you do it again, I will beat you up. Li Yun is already in his 20s and still can't stop swallowing his saliva. Recalling the taste of AD calcium milk, He is so greedy that he has not eaten meat or vegetables for half a year and only eats white rice. He is greedy even when he sees insects. Limping up, Li Yun's knee was broken, and his ankle was kicked purple by Jingshu. Is this woman a monster? Such great strength. He also saw Jingshu killing people with a gun before. He didn't expect that she has become so cruel now and treats her family so cruelly. In front of Li Yun's hateful face, Jingshu drank one bottle after another until she drank the third bottle before she came out, got in the car, and left together. Jingshu's family said goodbye and drove away, throwing the empty bottle out of the window. Li Yun hesitated for a long time and picked up the bottle. He licked it and found that the taste was wrong. A strong stench came. When was the black pig's feces put in it?
Ugh.
Li Yun started to vomit, and suddenly a message came on WeChat. It was from Jingshu. I will repay you for what you did to me when we were young. His memory was opened again, and Li Yun finally remembered that when he was young, he and a few friends had snatched Jingshu's calcium milk and put a lot of ants in it. When Jingshu opened it, a lot of ants crawled out. She cried and fell to the ground, scraping her knees. It seems that all the retribution has come back today? No, it's 10 times the retribution. Calcium milk, it's really full of memories, Jingshu thought with narrowed eyes. After returning home, he gave the other pig to his third aunt Jinglai as a debt repayment. The third aunt would never take it. Finally, after discussion, they decided to keep the pig in the villa and kill it together when they needed it. Jinglai felt that food was in short supply now, and she and her daughter were embarrassed to have dinner at Jingshu's house. Although they had bought more than a dozen bags of rice before and brought braised meat from the slaughterhouse home every day some time ago, it was still considered free food, so this pig was taken back to offset it. Wu Yui came running over eagerly. Do you need anything recently? Jingshu thought for a moment and shook her head. If you still need anything, tell me and I'll get it for my tutor. The other pig also said hello to his uncle. When he was about to send it to him one day, the chaotic witching finally announced a new policy to provide free food. Wang Chichi number 13. At everyone, the government has cancelled the water trucks that deliver water. You can go to the newly established government point at 5 o'clock every morning to get a day's worth of cooked food and water. Everyone can get one by scanning their face with their ID card. The news said that the free cooked food will continue until the artificial sun is built. The nearest point in our community is still at the Ijia supermarket 7 kilometers away. But at everyone, please note that the rules for receiving food are that there are no recorded robbery and murder cases. If anyone is caught and recorded for robbery and murder again, they will not be able to get food in the future. The unrest in Wucheng will stop. Is it really like this? Jingshu shook her head. The group of people who had just robbed the food were still excited. They had not finished eating their food. They had already experienced the pleasure of getting food easily. After eating the food distributed by the government that they could not swallow, they would once again stop working and turn their attention to more distant places, such as fat sheep like her. There were also a group of people who hoarded a lot of food like Jing Pan, and even a group of young people who had read too many doomsday novels had hoarded a lot of food. They were not short of food, and had not reached the point of being penniless. As a result, those who robbed would always get the food. Coupled with the manipulation behind the three parties, some gangs who just killed for the sake of killing would only make Wucheng more and more chaotic. But no matter what, for Wucheng, which had been in chaos for half a month, this news was undoubtedly exciting, and a heated discussion immediately broke out in the group. Luozhu number 9. I heard that after the distribution of cooked food, the water provided to each person will be even less. I don't know if it's enough to drink in such a hot day. Feniu number 25. My relative's family belongs to the government. I heard that they will have fresh vegetables every day starting tomorrow. I just don't know what we will be provided with. Zhufan number 7. Whatever it is, it's good to have something to eat. I'm already nauseous after eating tree bark. I even disliked white rice before. This dark day has lasted for half a year. When will the sun come back? Wang Tsuehua sent a voice message. Tonight, my family plans to ride bicycles to Ijia supermarket to line up at 3 o'clock. Is there anyone who wants to go with us? Phone number 3. "Auntie, take me with you." Wang Suihua said, "I've told you so many times not to call me auntie. I only recognize grandchildren and not nephews." Feng was speechless again, and the group chat was ended by Wang Suihua again. Jingshu's family set out at 4:30 in the morning the next day. They first sent Jing's mother to work, and then the two elderly people, Jing's father, Jingshu, and Wu Yui, continued to drive to Ijia supermarket. At that time, they were really glad to buy a 7-seater BYD Song Max with a lot of space. Wucheng was pitch black all the way. Recently, even the special bus stopped running. Fortunately, the rain was decreasing unnoticed, so the energy truck just had to go along the curb. The broken glass of the energy truck was cut by Jing's father and replaced with the glass that was not needed before. Jingshu was thinking about where to get some bulletproof glass to raise the chassis of the car. After all, the road will become more and more difficult to drive in the future, so it is better to go with an off-road vehicle. Third, and Jinglai got up at 3 a.m. every day to take the government special bus to work. She was especially busy recently. She was assigned to Ijia supermarket to make cooked food. Jingshu herself didn't expect that third aunt would get into the system job that she thought was very good in her previous life through her. Wu Yui was unwilling to get up to go to the supermarket with panda eyes and said, "I would rather not eat or drink water and sleep at home." In the end, she was defeated by a bowl of glutinous rice balls from Jingnai. Wu Yui actually liked to eat glutinous rice balls. Jingshu ate 3 bowls in a row and didn't think they were delicious. Jingshu understood Wu Yui's feelings very well. She used to like to sleep in, but since she drank the spiritual spring, she no longer felt sleepy. She no longer felt what it was like to sleep soundly. Basically, she fell asleep as soon as she closed her eyes and had to get up as soon as she opened her eyes. She didn't even dream. The sleeping experience was extremely bad. At 5 o'clock on Monday morning, May 22nd, after sending Jing's mother to work, Jingshu and her family arrived at Ijia supermarket. It had changed a lot here. Jing's father parked the energy truck on the side of the road. The family went in with sticks, weapons, for-liter mineral water bottles, and the bustling people around. Because of the robbery, everyone was holding weapons and dishes in their hands, which was very funny. From this point of view, Jingshu's family looked more like they were just strolling on the street. A high wall had been built around the supermarket, and the entrances and exits were separated to prevent the last attack. The headlights illuminated the long queue at the entrance. A row of armed police and security guards holding shields stood at the door, and they started the body search and security check mode. Anyone who brought weapons was put away on the other side. Jingshu and her family went back and put the weapons back in the car. It was 2 degrees Celsius at 5 in the morning, and it was very cold. Jing's grandmother and Jing's grandfather both wore cotton jackets and cotton pants. Jingshu wore coral fleece pajamas with a one-piece dress on the outside, but she still felt a little cold. She had been drinking Lingquan for nearly half a year and still couldn't resist freezing or heat. She should have brought a hand warmer earlier. Of course, compared to the -40 degrees Celsius later, it was still drizzle. The people queuing around were also wearing dirty and rotten thick clothes. Their hair was a mess. You could see lumps of dirt and sweat stuck to their hair one by one. According to Jingshu's experience, they hadn't washed their hair for at least half a year. In her previous life, she simply shaved it off. Otherwise, she would have raised a nest of lice. They were holding bowls in one hand and sticks in the other, just like the beggars' gang, but you could still see hope in their eyes. It was not like the numbness and indifference 10 years later. Everyone fantasized about solving the energy problem after the artificial sun came out. Soon after passing the security check, the parking lot of the supermarket was changed to a temporary station for the armed police. At this time, the national anthem was slowly playing, and a team of flag raisers in military uniforms began to raise the national flag in a neat pace. Everyone stopped unconsciously and saluted. In the dark night, under the dim light, Jingshu looked at the slowly rising national flag, and a sense of pride arose in her heart. No matter what, in the 10 years of the end of the world, Only China has the most and the best people alive. There are many bad people, but there are also many people who have dedicated themselves to the country. If I were to describe it in one sentence, it would be that I would never regret entering China in this life. There is no sunshine, but we still raise the national flag every Monday. Other times, we will distribute free food from 5 o'clock every morning until the construction of the artificial sun is completed. The country will not watch everyone starve to death, and everything will get better. We will severely punish criminals, and those who have been recorded for robbery and murder will not get food. Please think about what you do. The loudspeaker sounded repeatedly. This was China's gentle policy in the early days of the end of the world. It wanted to reduce robbery and murder in this way, but it failed. After all, people will not cherish free things. Jingshu knew that the free food distribution would change again soon. Want food? Okay, then work, or exchange it for something. The old supermarket was emptied of everything and divided into two parts. One part was the water collection area. The other part was the 10 cash registers that were changed into food collection windows. Everyone walked through the S-curve queue. Each person took a big spoonful of rice and left. Those with bowls used their bowls, and those without bowls used their hands or clothes. What kind of rice are you eating? Jingnai took a curious look. Rice cooked with mushrooms. Jingshu's face showed a palpitating expression. Looking at the group of unwashed mushrooms and rice mixed together to cook into black and green rice, the musty smell filled the whole supermarket and made her feel sick. In her previous life, she had eaten it for 10 years and really vomited. Some people were swallowing in big mouthfuls in the corner, presumably because they were extremely hungry. Some people ate 2 bites and threw it away. Jingshu could only sneer at those who wasted food. Today's meal is considered good. After a while, you will eat maggots and not even have rice. Let's see if you will regret it.